Hey, in this video, I'm going to make a deck box. I'm gonna mill some wood, and I'm going to use my CNC to cut it. So stick around if you want to check that out. Thanks. Alright, so first things first is getting a piece of wood. In this case, this box is going to be made from Paduke. Next, we got to cut that piece of wood down to size, and to do that, we're going to use my miter saw. It's on this flip-top bench thing. On the other side's my planer. It locks in, and then you can push it back towards the wall. So once we're set up, we're going to chop off the end, so that way we can check and see if we have any checking or issues. And then we'll measure out and make sure we have the right length for the box we're trying to do. And then after that, we'll cut it, and there you go. Next, we got to cut it down to width at the table saw, and sorry you get my elbow in this picture. Next comes flattening one side on my joiner. This is just a little benchtop joiner because I usually don't use woods that are longer than about 20 inches. Alright, now we're going to do some resawing. So first things first is actually raising the guard on the saw. Then we have to adjust the fence, switch it from a short piece to actual resaw width. So then what we're going to do is use this awesome little micro jig halfway finder to figure out exactly how wide our piece is. And then that way we can use it against our fence for the bandsaw to cut it right down the middle. And the bandsaw I use is a Jet 14-inch bandsaw. It's an awesome bandsaw if you don't have one. Then we're going to take one half of the piece we cut in half and run it through the planer until it's smooth and 1/4 of an inch thick. I then filmed cutting the miters using the CNC, but now what we're going to do is set up to cut the dados and everything else with the CNC. So I'm just programming the CNC to get started, and now what it's going to do is cut all the dados for the deck box slide and the bottom piece. And the bit I use to do all of this is a downcut end mill, and now what I'm doing is just prying off the piece that's held on with hot glue from the CNC. Then you take it over and you sand out the inside because this is the easiest time to do it. So just run the sander all the way through. After you sand the top of it, you want to go in and sand all of these dados. These dados are going to be the slide where you put in the lid for the box. Once it's all sanded, I take the wood back over to the bandsaw and cut off the tabs from the CNC. Then I use some masking tape to keep all the pieces together, so that way I don't lose them or put them out of order. And then this part is cutting off the handle of the deck box. Now we're going to go ahead and cut the bottom piece, and that's why you don't stand behind the table saw when you're cutting. So you cut out the bottom piece, and then what we're going to do is sand it nice and flat, so that way it looks good and feels good. We're going to put on some gloves in a weird way, and then we're going to finish the inside of the box because this is the easiest time to actually finish the box. It's a lot easier to do it now than when it's all assembled. So this is just wipe on poly. I'll hit everything except the spots that I glue, and now we're going to glue it up. And I glue in one side of the bottom panel because I want it to move around if it needs to move around. Then I just fold the box over on itself and stick it together. Now I'm using rubber bands to help keep tension on the box and hold it together. The masking tape does a pretty good job of that and alignment, but sometimes you just need a little bit of extra coercion, and some heavy-duty rubber bands are perfect for that. Then what I'm doing now is just checking for square, making sure everything looks good, and it does. And that's how you make a box using your power tools and a CNC. If you like what you see so far, please give me a like and a follow, and check out my Etsy page and my Instagram and my other social media. Thanks. Have a good day. Stay classy.